Welcome back, guys. Let's implement the chat rooms feature where I'm gonna fetch all the chat rooms which are available right now. There is no pagination as yet on the server side. That will come up later where it becomes more interesting. Right now, I have some maybe 3-4 chat rooms available, which is going to get listed over here. For that, I need to first write the service layer where we don't have anything yet. For that, we'll write that and then fetch the chat rooms and then display it over here, and then that's what I'm going to do right now. First thing first, let me just start creating the service for this. After that, we will include Rx data sources to set up the table view. So it's going to be Rx version. But if you are not using Rx, it's a simpler. It's not going to be a great difference between both those two approaches. Because if you want to see the non-Rx way, I already have different project code base available, or even projects which I can refer it in the description section if you want to actually refer how to do things without Rx. So with this one is purely using Rx. So let's start creating by a new service called Chatrooms HTTP router. This is where I'm going to include the endpoints very much specific to the chat rooms. So it's going to be Chatrooms HTTP router. It's going to be again use the router pattern. You don't need to if you are not comfortable with router pattern, you can directly use the HTTP services to make the request, pass the base URL, and use that instead. But if you want our Almofire router pattern, you can use this, which makes the readability of the code a little better, as well as managing the code easier. So that's the reason I go with the Alamofire's router pattern. So I have the chat rooms. It's going to be an enum, like always. These routers are always an enum. I'm going to call it same chat rooms HTTP router, and I'm going to first include only one thing where I'm going to fetch all the chat rooms. There are going to be 3-4 more endpoints, but I'm just going to start with only this one right now. Extension chat room HTTP router. So this is going to extend some of the things available within the chat room reactive extension which we had created called reactive HTTP router. You can verify or refer the earlier implementation of this. In the previous episode, I had explained how to do the reactive HTTP router, which is actually implementing nothing but an HTTP router and a reactive compatible, which makes it like if you're making a request, it comes with that rx.request. That's how if you want to make it reactive compatible, that you implement this reactive compatible protocol. That's the only thing which we do here. And then I'm going to make it public so that it is accessible to the interactor or maybe to the other services. I guess it's not needed to be public at this point because my service, as well as I can keep it even internal, because it's not going outside of this layer. So I can just even keep it as internal. These are basic implementations. Like I have the base URL, which is always this. I guess I can keep it like this. And the path for chat rooms, I just have one path right now, but then I'm going to do a switch case even for that. Sorry, not here. Switch self path is going to be chat rooms, and it's going to return a path like this, / chat rooms. That's my chat rooms path I have defined in my Node.js server. If I go to the routes of my Node.js, I have different endpoints defined. So chat rooms is where I get all the chat rooms available. So that's what my definition of endpoint is there. So I'm just including that. That's enough for this. And then method is going to be get. So again, I can just keep it as switch self because post things are also coming up. So maybe I can just keep this as return.get. That's enough. Headers, I need to pass 2 headers. So headers are this is my chat rooms header. I need to have couple of headers. Return, it's going to be an array. First is content type, application JSON. That's the first one, and second is authorization header, which is where I'm going to pass the authorization as authorization. Oh, messed it up pretty badly. Authorization, which is a bearer token. Bearer and a token. So this is where we need a token to be available. So for that, I'm going to create a private var access token over here, which is going to return string, and that's just going to say I already have the service created for the user settings. I'm just going to use that right now. User settings service dot shared dot like I had defined two properties there to get these values. I'm just using that here, access token. So that's the one for access token, and that's the only thing I need here. So I can use this to send a request. Access token bearer access token is my request header. So this should ideally be enough. What all things I need? I need the base URL to make a request. I need the endpoint, which I'm using here. Method is get, and if I have the bearer token, it should actually get me the response. So that's enough. I guess this is pretty much enough to even I'm gonna keep the body part. I don't need the body yet, but then I'm still gonna keep the body part, because in future we are going to send those, or maybe I can just ignore it for the time being, because body is anyway ignored in the base. If you look at it, I don't need the base, the body right now. Body is set to nil, so it's always going to send a nil body to the server. So we don't need the body part yet. So this is enough to make the request right now. So for that, along with account service, right now I need to create one more service called Chatroom Service. Chatrooms Service. Within Chatroom, let's connect service, and Chatrooms Service is going to implement a protocol. I'm going to create a protocol called Chatrooms API. Right now it's only going to have a function called Chatrooms, which is just to fetch all the chat rooms. And what is the parameter I defined? Chatrooms API is going to return single of, so I need to import UIKit, RxSwift, single of an array of chat room. I don't think we have chat room yet, so that's what it's going to come back. It's going to come back as chat rooms. So let's say I already have the server running, and it's going to send me chat rooms like this, where it involves the chat room information. If I can just show you better. Okay. So this is my chat room, where it created by me, gaming room. There are 3-4, but this is an old response, so it's showing me the chat room. It has many messages, it has many members and all. So what I can do is now to create this response type. So I already know what is going to be the response. I can use some tool to generate this. We don't have it yet, so go to my models. I don't have anything very specific to Chatroom. I just have the older user which was created using this. So even for Chatroom, I can directly go generate something similar. Chatrooms. Let me show you using the tool. I use the quicktype.io more or less for this, so it shows me this is my whole structure where I can create a chat room like this. It's going to be of this structure: chat room, members, messages. It's going to come back with member array, messages array, who are the creators, name, subject, created it, updated it. And I think I can just directly grab this whole thing and use it. So let me also verify what is the implementation I have within my models. I have a chat rooms. Okay, it's pretty much the same, like it's creating this structure. So I'm going to grab the whole thing along with their copyright, chat rooms, models, create, just replace the whole thing here. That's my chat room. So this already I have within utility. I'm just gonna ignore that and import my utility. Import utility so that I don't get that error. So maybe I can just keep whatever is specific to like chat rooms. I can keep within its own model. This is my okay, this was supposed to be chat rooms. Maybe the other things, starting with, let's say, the chat room. First thing, let's get rid of whatever is not needed. I don't need these functions. Some of the things are not required. Init from URL, I might not even use that, so I'm getting rid of that. Init from JSON, no, not needed. Maybe this one, data transformation, I need. I'm just gonna keep that, and keys are fine. So that is my first chat room. I'm gonna use that whole thing. Chat room as a model. Yeah, that's the first one. Combine extension, because it's already there, so I can just get rid of this one. That's done. Now it's the member section. So member, again, get rid of whatever is not needed. URL I don't need, width I don't need, these things I don't need. Maybe it's a JSON string I can keep because I might just print that out. So member is something I'm gonna grab. Again, create member. I might need import utility here because I have that function, new JSON encoder function I'm using, so I'm going to keep that. That's also done. So what do I have? The message. These are some things which are going to come back later, but it's going to give me along this. I might modify later, but then for this sake, for this tutorial sake, I'm going to keep it because it's not a great way to just send all the messages which are related to a chat along with the chat room details. It's better that maybe I can just only send the last chat which was received. That may be enough, plus along with the count of all the recent chat or something. So that's the only thing which I might need. I might modify this later, but then I'm just gonna keep it for right now for this tutorial. So I'm just going to again grab this, create a message. These are all the messages which are going to come back for the chat room. Message model, that's also included. I will include utility as well. that's enough. Now what is left? Finally, it's a chat room. Anyway, we know chat room, and this role is not going to be like this. Sometimes it creates it might not be the right one. It's also fine if you can, let's say, if I know, let's say the role is going to be participant and owner is one thing. Maybe owner, it's not, it might crash later point, but I know there are going to be these three roles. Guest, these are the three roles I'm expecting, so I'm just going to keep those right now. So role is one thing. If it does not know what all things are there, it might start crashing, but then you can, because I know everything, like the data structure, I'm going to keep it as is. So the role is something I'm going to keep. So role is nothing but the different roles of a user within a chat room. So if my role in this case is going to be a participant, I guess I kept it as role. Okay, it's within this, so everything is right now a participant, but definition is going to come back in a better way later. But each and every user who is going to join have a defined role associated, so that's what that role is all about. So that's also done. So I guess that's also taken care. So we have a good structure for the chat rooms, like the chat rooms, chat room, member, message. One thing we need to take care now is to keep everything whichever is relevant as public. Extensions and these, so this again chat rooms is public, so this will ask me to make this as well public. So the properties related to that, public, extension to be public, member again has to be public, extension, role, so many things. At least the generator, if it had its own way of making things as public or something, it would have been easier for me. But then yeah, let's do this. At least this much public. I guess that's pretty much covers. Now it says undeclared type, so we need to import models. That should pretty much sort it out. So that's my response I'm expecting from the server, and then I'm gonna use that to consume whenever I call this function. So this is my Chatrooms API. It's going to be a public class, public final class. This is going to implement Chatroom Service implements Chatrooms API. So that you can implement that function over here, Chatrooms. Return something. Right now I'm gonna just keep, okay, we already have the, let's quickly implement that init. This is going to consume the Chatrooms HTTP. Okay, we don't need to do anything here. We just can keep this init public, or maybe even shared, whatever way makes sense. Singleton, I can just say service public, it's exposed through this one, and then I can call the HTTP service which needs to be consumed to make the API call. So private let HTTP service, which is implementing HTTP service, whatever I created, which is chat room http chatroom http service, yeah, instance of that. Shared instance of even that. And now I can make the router call here. So I already know, I have already defined the Chatrooms HTTP router, which has a function called Chatrooms. Not a function, it's an enum call, which actually decorates everything whatever you want to make that final request. So we already have defined everything. The endpoint, get, call, bearer token, everything is available. The token available through the user settings. All that we need now do is to make a RX request with the HTTP reactive service. So this is actually a internally it's implementing HTTP reactive service. You can just pass that. And okay, it should be request, or yeah, it's request itself. Can I map it? Is it, there is some issue. What is that we did in account router, this? Okay, maybe because we did not make the call through, we should make this reactive HTTP service. Or maybe totally get rid of this and see what happens. Okay, account service, we had it like this. Okay, to directly use that base type, reactive HTTP service protocol can only be used as a generic because it has a self restriction. Okay, so we can directly use it like this, Chatroom. Now you should be able to map it because we have the function map response dot map. We get the response as data request. Not really, that's not I want. Response JSON, you get the response JSON, and then you can map it to the data response. You get that response, then you can start parsing it. So this is the request call. I guess we can pretty much start using this. So response is going to do a parsing, so I'm going to implement that parsing logic right now. So there is an interesting way you can do this, because it's going to be a simple parsing, but then you can extend this and then create a parser out of it. So for that, let me refer my service, Chatroom response. Okay, let's start with the basic handling, and after that I'll show you how to do it in a different way, like the parsing logic, like a different function. So we have the data response right now. First thing first, we can always check whether it has an error or not. Error equal to data response dot error. If there is an error, we can right away throw an error saying chatroom error dot, be a custom error here, because we already have captured the error, or then you can say the localized description. If you want to print the whole error, you can just print that as well, so that we know what went wrong. Next is if data is existing or not. Let's say first thing, let's capture that let status code, we know that status code needs to be 200. So if that is coming back, response dot status code, and if this, we capture that status code over here, and then we can always check whether that status code is 200, and then try to see whether data is existing or not. Why is it not printing properly? And then I can say let data equals data response dot data, if there is data or not. 3 checks. If these 3 checks are failing, then I can always say data does not exist or something. I can just throw chatroom error dot maybe internal error or not found error or something, not found, and then I can say chatroom does not exist. Maybe it can be also like it is 400 or 401, or not. Maybe it can also be 401 when your authentication fails. So at that point is when we are going to implement that retry logic, but then we will keep this basic logic to actually handle the 200 case over here. If you have data, you are just going to parse it and send it back. So return, you can now say return try, you have the data and you know it's going to be chatrooms, which is going to come back dot, you can init this using the data part, data which is received, and then respond that one. So data response mapping, so it's saying cannot convert expression observable to return type single. So whatever I have right now is an observable. I can just say this is my data chatrooms, it's now a observable type because this is mapping and sending it as a observable, so I need to make it as single, and then that will get rid of your error. So that's what we are doing right now. We are just checking whether there is an error or not on response. If there is an error, we send that, throw that error. If not, check whether it is 200 and it has data. If there is no data, you're saying not found. If it is 401, that's the case where we need to do it using the retry logic. 500 and all, it will again retry from the retry itself, but then we are handling the basic case here where if it is 200, you try to parse it and send it back over here. So that is what you are trying to do here. So this should ideally parse it, send it, and send it back as a single chat room. So parse it, send it back as a single. It's a pretty simple chatrooms function call. So for testing this, whatever we can do is we can go to the chatroom section. Okay, first thing we need to include this in the interactor. We don't have an interactor yet for this, so let's create a chatrooms interactor. Within use case chatrooms interactor, always RxSwift is needed, and class chatrooms interactor public final, it's going to consume the chatrooms service which is inherited from, so we need to import the let's connect service. Also we might need the model, so even import that. So chatroom service, chatrooms service is what we are going to consume. So we are going to consume the chatrooms API instead of the whole service, and private let capture that instance chatroom service, and I can always say, do we need to make this as public is a big question because we are anyway giving access. Okay, we can keep it public, but we are giving access through this. Okay, and then I'm gonna extend this Chatrooms interactor. First function, I need it as public because I need to give access to these functions. Public function, first is Chatrooms, accepts nothing but then returns a single of Chatroom, array of Chatroom. So it's just delegating the work to the service. So because I have this service available, I can always say return dot chatrooms. That's enough. So we have the interactor function available right now. All that I need to do is to create an instance over here for chatroom public static let chatrooms interactor service. We need that service, so let's create that as well. Private static let chatrooms service, chatrooms service. I think we have shared it through an instance. Just pass that. That's done. So our interactor is ready. Now we need to just consume this function to get all the chat rooms. Or is there a better way? I think we don't need to send it like this. There is a better way. Let me just verify. Yeah, so we don't need to send it back like that. I can just call this as a function called fetch chat rooms. I'll show you a better way, and I can maybe make this as completable, and then I'm gonna call this get the chat rooms, and then I'm gonna map it. This is where I'm gonna get all the chat rooms, and I'm going to expose an observable from here so that I always get the latest chat room from here. So let me create this. Might go for modifications later, but then I'm gonna create a relay over here. I'm gonna import rx relay, and I'm going to create private let chatrooms relay, which is going to be an behavior relay because it needs to replay the last values received. Chat room behavior relay, instantiate that with a value. It's going to ask me to instantiate with a value. I'll create an empty array to instantiate that, and then I'm gonna create an observable out of this. So that is going to be public so that it can be accessed by any other layer, at least presenter, not any other layer. It's going to be the presenter. I'm going to create an observable of chat room and use that chat rooms relay to create an observable out of it as observable. So that's my observable chat rooms. So how do you consume these? So whatever I'm receiving here, I'm going to add it to this chatrooms.accept, and one more thing I can always do is, okay, first thing first, let me show you. I'm gonna accept it as an event. All the chat rooms synced are going to come here. So also I might have to append to the earlier existing values. For that I just do this. I'm gonna append it like this. So value is going to always have the older values. I'm just going to append it like this. to the newer chat rooms received, so that I don't lose all the old values. So that's my chat rooms implementation. I'm just gonna say subscribe and then dispose by bag. I need to create this bag, private let bag equal to dispose bag. I guess that should be enough. What is that error still? Dispose by. Okay, this needs to return a completable, so I don't need to do all this. I can just say as completable, and I don't need this dispose back. So wherever I'm subscribing, I'm just gonna say as completable. So it accepts and then completes. But then there is a problem here where it might just end this after the first fetch. But then that's fine, because this is my first fetch. After that, I don't think I'll be using this again to fetch anything. So this can remain as completable. Wherever I'm going to receive the values through this observable and through this relay. So this can remain as a completable. Its job is complete as soon as it is done with the initial fetch. So only change I'm envisioning right now is when if you have a, let's say, a pagination thing where you need to keep calling these fetch chat rooms with a new record which is sent back. At that point this might change, so that maybe I can take up once that page I have implemented the pagination. At that point we will refactor it, but then right now it's going to be one fetch at the beginning and then it's going to end it. So completable is nothing but it does its job and it ends that observable at that point. So it fetches, sent to this relay, and that's it. And whoever is subscribed to this observable which is created out of this relay is going to get these values. That's how it's going to work. So this is done. You have this fetch chat rooms. You can make that call and then start listening to this chat rooms. That's the implementation I was thinking. I just started with something differently. So fetch chat rooms I can now send as a use case to my presenter of chat room. So I already have the chat rooms which is right now showing nothing. So I can go there and then maybe I can initial processing. I need to start doing this fetch part. So use case has nothing right now. I can include fetch chat rooms as a function. Cannot have single values. I need to import Rx Swift. I think it's not there. We need to include that to chat rooms. Go to chat rooms. I'm going to include both Rx Swift and Rx Cocoa over there. So Rx Swift. And Rx Cocoa as well as relay. 3 things can include right now. And one more thing we are going to include pretty soon is Rx data sources for binding your table view. So that's what is coming up soon. So right now I have Rx Swift available. Fetch chat rooms is fine. So I have the use case added and it's triggering that to be included over here. So I can just say fetch chat rooms and I need to pass the use case. So I don't have the use cases import let chat rooms interactor equals, I have the use case factory available, use case factory dot chat rooms interactor, and I can now pass the function needed, the fetch chat rooms function. That's it. No more error. Now go back to my presenter. I have the chat rooms function available. I can just say self dot use cases dot input dot fetch chat rooms dot fetch chat rooms is my function. Always that's just call to just do the chat room function. Now as soon as I subscribe to it, it will start fetching it as soon as this screen is launched. dispose bag, I need to create a bag over here as well. Import now, so for that include private let bag dispose bag. That's it. So this should start fetching me debug. Can always add a fetch chat rooms. I'm gonna add a debug to see what comes back. Fetch, maybe keep that function name, fetch chat rooms. False. That's my fetch chat rooms function. Now let me also include the output part where I need the observable of chat rooms. Observable of chat room. I can now import models, import y. So that should be fine. So it should ask me to include that as well, which is already available. We added that relay and the corresponding chat rooms observable, chat rooms interactor dot chat rooms. Chat rooms is nothing but that observable. Here, chat rooms as observable gives you that chat room. So once something gets added to this relay, it starts, whoever has subscribed can start receiving these chat room signals over there. So that is also included. Compile, it should be fine. Let's also subscribe to that to see whether we received whatever we are subscribed to. After that, once that starts working, we can start integrating the table view, because we are going to implement or use these chat rooms values. Observables. Okay, this chat rooms is an observable, so you can subscribe to it to see what gets added to that. So for that, let's do dispose by bag, and then let's also add a debug to this. Debug identifier is chat rooms. Chat rooms false. And so for this case, as soon as the chat rooms gets loaded, that screen gets loaded, it's going to fetch everything, and then if you are subscribed to this chat rooms, it's going to show all the chat rooms which are consumed here. So once this is complete, we can start binding this chat rooms with the table view. So let's get this one completed. We are calling process and everything. We have all the dependencies in place. Let's relaunch. I think it's going to be session expiry right now, because I not run it for some time. Okay, anyway, it's coming to the login screen. So let's do a login again. Now it should show me at least it's subscribed, it's saving the token, and it should start fetching chat rooms. Let's see what happened. Okay, so you see, whatever we are interested in are these two subscriptions right now. Fetch chat rooms, and what happened to fetch chat rooms? Let's see. Fetch chat rooms, its event is completed. There are 3 events for it. First is subscription phase, where this gets subscribed on first call, and then it makes that call to fetch all the chat rooms, and it gets a response completed. That means that fetch is complete, and then it's getting disposed. Its job is done. And let's to see whether things got added or not, we just need to see what is coming through the chat rooms debug which we have kept for this. So there it first subscribes, then an event is triggered for a nil. That is like when you are initializing this chat rooms is getting initialized here using this initial value. So it's even that gets subscribed, and it plays that one, that sends that signal here. It has more signals, and then an event is triggered where it receives, that is where it gets added. This is the place when things gets added, is when this gets fired, and it shows all the events, all the observables for that. After that, it's complete and it is disposed. Because it is actually coming inside this one, it is disposed because you are subscribed to it. It is a function inside this. Its job is done. It received some signals, it showed it. So we have received the chat rooms which are available right now. So you can see that content coming over here. So right now our job is to use this to bind to a table view and show this chat rooms. So that's what we are going to do in the next episode. So let's begin with that right now.